Apple, always with a great team. Jerome Tang back at the helm. 19 and 15 overall finish, 9th in the Big 12. 7 overtime wins, an NCAA record. I think if we ask Coach himself, might rather win in regulation than having those overtime wins, but always a party there with what you guys are able to do. A different looking team this year. When you went out and you started to build some pieces, what did you want the identity of this year's team to be?
Well, when you only get guys for 10 months, 12 months, you need higher IQ guys because you don't have as long to teach them the game. And so we wanted to get guys with high IQ who could shoot the basketball. And then size. We needed size because at the end of the game when you're tired, 6'10" is still 6'10", and 7 foot is still 7 foot.
Well, you got size probably as much as anybody in this league or the country. How will you play the big guys and describe them all? Because I know you got David Kassan back, who's already a proven really good Big 12 player.
Oh, man, it's a blessing, like in college basketball today, to have a guy for 3 years. And for him to feel like we were helping him enough and that he was improving enough and cared, like we cared about him enough that he'd come back for a 3rd year because he had options. And so we're thankful for that. And, you get Coleman Hawkins, who's one of the most versatile players in the country, can guard multiple positions and offensively play multiple positions. He's a 6'10" quarterback. It's like having another point guard out on the floor. And he gets his joy from watching his teammates score and delivering passes to him, so he's fun to play with. And, we've got a rim protector in Ghana and in Mbai. Both of them can block shots and run the floor. And then a Chor who's, he's a bucket. He's got size.
NCAA experience.
Yeah, NCAA experience from coming from a winning program. And so really like the versatility of that front line. And we can play some of that zone. And have...
We'll see some of that Baylor zone.
Have 21 feet of wingspan across that baseline.
You got a couple different options at point guard. Who do we expect to start at that position?
Well, they're still trying to figure that out, and it's a heck of a competition right now. And, everybody knows about Doug McDaniels and the talent he has, and he's learning how to win and how to lead. And C.J. Jones has been, just an eye-opener. And at 6'5", and he takes care of the basketball, makes great decisions, can make open shots, and his length on defense really causes problems. And then David Castillo, he's not a freshman, and he's as mature, as confident, and as vocal of a freshman I've ever been around. And
that's because he's got a little New York City DNA. A lot of people don't know about that.
Yeah,
they think
his
Tulsa.
Pops. Yeah, and and the USA basketball experience. So those things. So those guys are doing a great job, and then Max Jones and Brendan Housen, those boys can shoot the ball.
We all know your history, man. You were there with Coach Drew, built the program. First 2 years, phenomenal, the Elite Eight. What have you gotten, knowing the league the way you do, what have you improved on as a coach that's making you better the next year? I hope there's some stuff.
Yeah, no. That's a really good question. Well, I asked my staff at the end of the year, what is it that I have to improve on to help us win? And to a person, they said, leave the referees alone.
I could have told you that.
And no, that's
why I'm doing this.
No, it was.
You could tell a lot of the coaches in this league that. That's why I laugh.
Like when everyone says it, that means it's a problem, right? And maybe that I didn't see it as being that big of a problem. And so, that's one area. The other area was that sometimes you recruit and you say, well, you don't want to have too much because how you going to play them all and stuff. And we did that the first 2 years. First year, no injuries, so it didn't affect us. Second year, injuries in life, it affected us getting to the term. So this year, our goal was to have an abundance so that we can suffer a loss of a player, whether by injury or for some other reasons, and still be an NCAA tournament team.
That's hard in any sport, though, because in today's day and age of transfer portal, people want to play and people want minutes. How do you balance that with the recruiting of, hey, come here, we have a couple of different people at this position, but we need depth?
Yeah, well, last year I had 3 freshmen on the roster, all top 100 players in the country. 2 of them played minutes for us, and the 2 that played left. So they're going to leave anyhow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So let's just have enough and win. And hopefully, like, winning becomes more important to them. And if competitive kids are going to, want to compete and stick it out and get after it, right? And then at the end of the day, they have a decision to make. From every level of college athletics, there are decisions being made by presidents are choosing to leave conferences for money. The coaches are choosing to change jobs for money, and so players are doing the same thing.
You got a Villanova transfer who's a great shooter. Talk about him.
He's the best shooter in America. He is unlimited range.
Brendan,
Brendan Housen, man.
Yeah.
I've known him since he was in high school. He came to an elite camp we had at Baylor as a rising sophomore, and we do this 5-minute shooting drill, and you want to make 50 in 5 minutes, and he made 54, and it doesn't sound that great except he was shooting all NBA threes. And everybody else was shooting on the high school three-point line.
I got to ask you, is he as good a shooter or better than Brady Heslop?
He reminds me so much of Brady. Even to be a great shooter, you got to have a little. I don't know any nicer way to say this, but a little FU to you.
Yes.
Like I can miss the shot, and coach look at me like, why'd you take that shot? And then the next trip down the court, shoot it again. And he's got that to him with a little smile.
Little edge. Before we let you go, part of spending all that time with Scott Drew is also taking that culture of joy, and it's still very much of what you lead with. Having all these newcomers, did you do anything over the off season to build that unity?
Well, this was the first time I had them all in July. And so, all of our family meals on Sundays. Then we did a team retreat where we did some rope stuff and fireside chat, did the 6 H's and just really, sharing our stories with each other, because everybody's got a story and a reason why they do it. And if we understand each other's whys, it makes us care a little bit more.
Can you imagine when he gets some enthusiasm, how good a coach he's going to be?
You're really lacking on the energy level. We love you. Appreciate the time. Good luck this season.
Thanks a lot. Go Cats.
Hannah is joined with the preseason Big 12 Newcomer of the Year, Coleman Hawkins.
Chris, thank you very much. Coleman, you're coming off of 4 tournament appearances at Illinois. What was the right decision for you about playing for Coach Tang?
Yeah, I think really it was a basketball blueprint. Coach Tang never made any promises to me. He never told me that, you're guaranteed a starting spot. You're guaranteed 40 minutes, 35 minutes a game, whatever it was. And just the blueprint he had for me. He had some efficiency things that he felt like I wasn't, the usage wasn't right at Illinois. It's no knock on them, but he felt like he could exploit those things and, use me in many different ways. And, I kind of just fell in love with that basketball blueprint.
What has been the way that you've seen that reign true now that you've had a couple months of practice under your belt?
It's just been a lot different, really. I've been having to get used to being in different positions, understand a new offense, understand a new defense. When you're used to doing something for 4 years and you feel like it works effectively and you're not doing it anymore, you got to make the sacrifice to, have to want to change. And I've been doing that and having to do that the last couple months now, and I'm able to see myself as someone who can just impact the game with facilitating, and I've been getting put in those positions to do that, facilitate, and just be me, facilitate, make open shots, rebound, offensive rebound, and just be me at a high rate. So.
You're coming in as this season's Big 12 co-newcomer of the year. What is your mentality around those high expectations as you gear up for year 1 in Manhattan?
Yeah, it's cool to get the recognition, but at the end of the day, if I'm taking care of business, as far as being a good teammate and winning basketball games, all the accolades could come as a team rather than, being known as one accomplishment. I'd rather be known as Kansas State Big 12 champs, with my team. And my whole goal is to win basketball games. And like I said, the recognition is cool, but, I'd love for the recognition to be as one unit as Kansas State. So
this team is working on a more aggressive shooting style and also improving on three-point shooting. How have you seen that improve in practice over the past few months?
Yeah, we have some elite shooters on our team. Max Jones, Brendan, me, I feel like I'm a great shooter. Doug McDaniel, I feel like the list goes on, really. If I'm being honest, Brendan has been one of the elite shooters I've ever seen. I had a player at Illinois named Alfonso Plummer, and both of them are two of the greatest shooters I've played with. And I think Brendan is definitely giving Alfonso Plummer a run for his money. So we definitely have the guys who are fully capable of knocking down shots. The ball feels a little different when there's 15,000 in there and it's not just you at practice. But, you know, I have high expectations that those guys will, you know, be tough enough to be able to knock down open shots. And, you know, I'm very trustworthy, and I have a lot of trust in those guys and faith in those guys that they'll make every shot they take.
Coleman, real quick, Starting Five just came out on Netflix. Let's say they were to make a Big 12 version. Who would be the most entertaining teammate to watch in that environment?
I'd have to go with my man, Moby. I don't know how to pronounce Ike Garuga. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name, but my man Moby, he's super funny. He has a crazy accent. I think the fan base would love checking him out and seeing what he does on and off the court. He's a big gamer guy too. He has a whole expensive gaming setup. So I think Moby would have to be my pick.
Sounds entertaining. We'll appreciate the time. Best of luck to you and K-State Starting Five.
Thank you.
Appreciate the time. Chris?
Thank you so much, Hannah. Jerome Tang, another year in the Big Apple. We saw his very first year there have some immediate success, a little more growing pains last year. It gets, you know, almost an entirely new-looking team for him. What do you expect out of the Wildcats this year?
A big bounce back. They lost Naquan Tomlin early in the year, who was an NBA prospect, and they were never quite the same. They had some injuries, but I love what he's done in the offseason. He's got guards. He's got one of the biggest teams in the country. I expect them to have a really big year. I think they're a top 25 level team. They're one of those teams that nobody's talking about right now. But you look at David Kassan right here. You know, Coach mentioned 3 years with him, and I really like them. I really think they're going to.
One of the things I thought that it was interesting in the beginning of the segment when he talked about transfer portal guys, if you're only going to have someone for 10 months and you want someone with a high IQ.
Yes.
And they seem to do that even with the freshmen that they have coming in.
No, David Castillo is one of the highly regarded point guards in the high school ranks coming to college. And he mentioned Housen, who played at Villanova. Brendan's a great shooter. They got into the portal with some big guys. Chor was at Samford this year. And actually, I think he had a really good game against Kansas in the NCAA tournament. So there's a lot to like. And anytime you talk to Jerome Tang, you just kind of, he's the kind of guy you'd want your kids to play for.
Yeah,
that's what you love about him. And I expect them to be really good this year and maybe a little underrated nationally, but they're going to be dangerous.